Good morning and welcome to the Mission Starfish 2030 session on restoring our oceans and waters. My name is John Bell. I have a simple job, which is restoring a healthy planet with my colleagues this morning. And what we're going to be talking about is how we put the ocean at the centre of our future. At the very beginning, for wherever you're sitting in Europe, around the world, we'd like you to get involved in this conversation. So we'll be running a little poll on Slido. You can find, if you don't have the app, slido.com, you can find the app. And the hashtag you need is RI20. Now, let me just test it out to give you all a warm-up to ask you a very simple question that should be part of all of our knowledge. Approximately, what percentage of the planet's surface do you think is covered by water? We won't be asking you what you think will be covered by water in 30 years' time. That's a much more complicated question. So the key message this morning from me is that everything depends on the ocean. Our oceans are in trouble. They need our help. We may be running out of time, but we're not running out of ideas. And our job this morning is in the new mission for the European Union, which is the Green Deal, is to place the regeneration of the oceans at the centre of our efforts to restore our EU oceans and waters. We're very fortunate this morning to have with us the leading thinkers and actors about our oceans. We're led, and I'm very honoured to have here Pascal Lamy, who's the chair of our mission Starfish 2030. No doubt you'll tell us why the starfish. I'm not sure if we are the starfish or whether it has other significance, Pascal, to restore oceans and waters. James Honeybourne, the conceptor of Blue Planet 2 and a member of our assembly. Mrs. Evelina Santacala, thank you very much, from the German Federal Ministry of Education and Research. Marcus Raymond, who's part of the Thyssen-Bornemisza Art and Contemporary TBA 21. I'm sure, Marcus, you'll explain and decode all that for us. And Eugenia Barocca, the next generation who need to live with our decisions, an All-Atlantic Oath and Youth Ambassador and a member of the Sustainable Ocean Alliance. Now, with that, there's no better way of explaining truth than by starting with beauty. So let's start with a short video of the mission on healthy ocean seas, coastal and inland waters, and we hand over to the mission. Thank you. Can we roll it there, please?
You see, my child, water is all around us, from the mountain stream to the deepest ocean. Water is life, oxygen, food, energy. Water is beauty when it's not mistreated. Yet nature has a way of fighting back. Go see for yourself, my child.
It's scary out here. The ocean is so powerful. My teacher says it regulates weather and absorbs carbon emissions. That's good for the climate. The ocean is the guardian of our past, home to amazing treasures and life. There is so much below the surface, mysterious and vast.
We know so little, so we keep exploring, looking for answers and solutions. Our ocean, our seas, our coasts, our rivers, they give us so much. Food when we are hungry, peace and refuge when we are troubled, healing when we are ill, opportunities for new adventures. It's time we restore harmony with our ocean and waters. Our mission is to protect our life support system. Sail with us on a great exploration of our blue planet. Together, we can heal it.
So beauty is truth. And now to one of our truth tellers. Pascal Lamy, I would need the whole session to introduce him, so I'll just say he's the chair of our Mission Starfish Board. He's one of the refounders of Europe. He's one of the regenerators of the ocean. He's our old Jules Verne. Pascal, over to you.
Thank you, John. Just a few words. I'm not going to repeat what I said when I handed over our mission report to the Commission this morning. I just want to insist on 2 or 3 specific points. First, of course, repeat what we finally saw as the main target for 2030, which is to restore our hydrosphere. Hydrosphere meaning ocean, seas, waters all over Europe. John already mentioned the real issue. Waters, oceans, seas are essential to life. They are in deep trouble because of our own action. And if we want to keep life on this planet, we have to regenerate, to restore our hydrosphere by 2030. This entails many, many, many actions in many, many directions. And again, this is not the time for the detail. Everybody can now find that in the report which has been made public today. It's a complex issue. We need a sort of holistic approach. Let me just focus on 2 things. First, on the side of challenges, science, expertise tells us the size of this challenge. I think, for what I saw of our work, the main challenge is to address a big problem, which is this gap between the importance of oceans, waters, on the one side, and the very little knowledge or emotional connection which many people have with this. I think most people have understood that we have a serious problem with our atmosphere. I don't think we are yet to the point where public opinion, people at large, understand we have a much bigger problem with our hydrosphere. This is one major problem which we have to cope with. We will not be able to mobilize enough political energy to do all that has to be done to restore our hydrosphere without filling this gap. And I hope we will be discussing this now because I see it as a major challenge. Second point I want to insist on the solution side, and again, there are many solutions, many actions, many actors, and we need to construct the digital twin of the ocean to make proper simulations, and we need to make aquaculture zero carbon, and we need to equip fishing gears with transponders that help us spotting the quantity of fish and so on. Lots of things to do. One problem which needs political, administrative, citizen attention, which is governance. In such a large problem, which necessitates so many actions by so many people, we have a serious governance deficit. So we have an emotional deficit, which we need to gap. We have a governance deficit, which we also need to fill. And this is going to be tough because, including at EU level, there are many actors, many institutions, many programs, and that's also the case in most of our member states, which need to be much better coordinated. These 2 things, I think, are issues where most of you, most of us, in whichever capacity, either with a vote in a ballot or in what we can do every day, these 2 things are challenges which I think we need to address in priority.
Great. So the scale of what is needed here is systemic, it's generational, it's a rewriting of history, and it's going to be done, I think, by connecting, as Pascal says, the water system, ourselves to the water system, and giving us the means to make the changes for a better future. We've asked you warming up how connected people are to the reality of water on Earth, and we asked a question about what percentage of the planet's surface is covered by water. And strangely enough, most people are in or around the right range. It's the silent majority on the planet. It's the part that keeps us all ticking over. It's around about 3/4 of the Earth's surface, depending on your definition. So congratulations to those of you who know a great deal already in setting out, and let's keep ourselves moving. We will have a second question, which we'll come back to our speakers about later on, which is this question. If there's one action that you as citizens think could change our oceans and waters' future, what would it be? One action for citizens, not all the big people in the labs and with the data sets and the political, but citizens. What would be one action you think that could change our oceans and waters' future? Now we turn to our ocean leaders who are with us today, and I'll start with James Honeybourne, who is the Blue Planet 2 creator. He is in fact the ocean's greatest storyteller. Over to you, James. Can't hear, James. Can you take your headset off, please, and start, James? Great. It's a much better look, too. Okay. Can you speak, James? Yes? James, we'll come back to you. We go to the next speaker and we come back to you, okay? You know how these televisual medias are. They're quite unpredictable sometimes. We'll come back to you as the next speaker. Evelina Santacala is representing our German presidency. And Germany's presidency is trying to put citizens at the center of this great transition, which must leave nobody behind and mobilize a sense of optimism and hope about what the future of the European Union will be, which is about this great Green Deal future. So Evelina from the Federal Ministry of Education and Research was here to talk to us about the Plastic Pirates Citizen Science Campaign. We can't have an ocean without pirates. Evelina, over to you.
Thank you very much, John. Well, hello to the audience, and thank you for the introduction and the invitation. You might wonder, but it has already been said, what I have to do with citizen science and oceans. Well, let me tell you that story by showing you the video. Please show the video.
Brooks, streams, rivers. Much of the Earth is covered by many different water courses that give life and keep everything in motion. The water travels along here, for instance, and through here. It carries small passengers, big cargo loads, and also a lot of plastic waste. This waste adds up to an order of magnitude that has become a threat to life in the oceans. That's why we say, the ocean starts here. Right here where we live. This is where the problem starts. But how can we solve it? We all can make a small contribution in everyday life. But for global solutions, we need to know more. We need to do research. We need to know more about waste pollution, where it happens, how the plastic components move along, and what impact they have on ecosystems and the climate. How many researchers does that require? A lot. More than a lot. Because sound research needs facts and figures to be able to develop solutions. The more data we have, the more targeted and effective these solutions can be. And where will all the required researchers come from? They'll come from schools, universities, and clubs all across Europe. Plastic Pirates, go Europe! How does it work? Like this. Schools and youth groups. Everyone can join to learn, research, and contribute. The Citizen Science Campaign, Plastic Pirates, Go Europe, provides material and guidance and pools our efforts with water, marine, and climate research. It's up to all of us. We all have to face the global challenges. As a goal of our trio presidency in the Council of the EU, we, Germany, Portugal, and Slovenia, are joining hands to provide an answer and a clear course of action. Plastic Pirates, Go Europe! You too can help and recruit new partners and supporters. This way, more countries will join the partnership. This way, we will make an even greater contribution for the future. Be a partner. Be a part.
This video is a major milestone of the story of the plastic pirates that started last autumn. And please show the slides now. Yes, first slide, please. Well, as I said, the story started last autumn. That is when my colleagues and I sat together with our Portuguese and Slovenian partners to prepare our joint trial presidency. We wanted to do something concrete together, not only pay lip service, but really build on something that lasts during our presidency and even beyond. So we came up with the idea of a citizen science initiative to promote science education, contribute to increasing scientific knowledge, and one that proves that cooperation across borders for researchers, but also for pupils, is fruitful. Next slide, please. The initiative is focused on plastic pollution of our rivers, inland waters, and oceans. And it builds on an already ongoing German initiative, the Plastic Pirates, which provided a blueprint for this trial initiative. In the course of the coming months, research institutes from these three countries adapted the scientific methodology, outreach campaigns were planned, and we brought the JRC and the European Commission very early on board. And they have been very supportive in this early stage onwards. So as I said, we did a lot of outreach campaigns. This was very essential, or has been very essential in the course of time. And I invite all of you to take a look at the material which is provided on our website. We have developed school material for children, which is, for me, a very nice thing to hand out and to distribute among schools. We kicked off the initiative at the Informal Council, Competitiveness Council of Research Ministers in July during the German presidency. And I'm very happy I was very happy to see that many countries showed interest in it. So beyond our German, Portuguese and Slovenian partners, we are really looking forward to joining even more countries to this initiative. Also now in September, the first schools started their collections. So in Germany and Portugal and Slovenia, many schools started to collect plastic waste in nearby rivers and to upload that data on the joint website. Next slide, please. So what we really want to achieve is to reach pupils, and it was said in the beginning. I think this emotional connection is a very important part of all this, of such an initiative and also other initiatives in this area. And I myself have always been very passionate about environmental protection and research. So in the Plastic Pirates, they combine both. We have sound data collection, we combine methodological research and connect young people to these important issues. So I'm proud and very happy to be part of this initiative and look also forward to our discussion later on. Thank you very much.
Vielen Dank, Evelina, für Ihre Initiative. And now we're going to go back to James Honeybourne, the Blue Planet 2 co-creator, our ocean storyteller. Tell your story, James.
Good morning. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes,
apologies
perfect.
for that technical hitch. I was asked to talk about how we might empower citizens to make meaningful actions to regenerate our oceans and waters. And of course, that's a huge challenge. You know, as individuals, when faced with overwhelming environmental issues, we can feel powerless. But together, we know we can achieve amazing things. Whether we're motivated to do nothing or to act on the issue depends on how we're feeling. So as we'll see, our feelings are really important consideration in how we approach this great task of empowering citizens to make meaningful changes. Today, I'm going to talk briefly about our journey towards feeling empowered, because ultimately the mission objectives must feel personal and relatable and achievable and empowering to each and every citizen. It's this that will help us redress the emotional deficit. But first, I'd like to just share some facts from some previous work. First slide, please. And the first 3 clicks, please. You'll see here that just by the TV series engaging audiences on the oceans prompted viewers to feel inspired and even to act. Next 3 clicks, please. What I find really interesting here is that the series didn't actually tell people to do any of this, but viewers felt empowered to act by themselves because through the series, they had come to care. They'd learned about the problems the oceans face. Next click, please. And next 3 clicks, sorry. And you can see how they sought out ways of learning more, in this case, through various NGOs and websites. If we can have those last 3 clicks. Thank you very much. So it's clear from this sort of data that engaging science-based storytelling can address environmental issues effectively and begin a journey that will lead us towards making meaningful actions. We just have to engage us all first to a point where we really care, where we feel empowered enough to act. And I call that our journey towards empowerment. Next slide, please. Here's how it works. Okay, first click, please. Second click. So first of all, we need to create great cultural experiences from science, media, news, entertainment, and art events that draw us in and connect us to water in all its forms. Next click, please. Next click. At the heart of this, we need to create emotional connections that help us care for these watery worlds. Once we really care, we ask ourselves, what can I do? And we find we're now ready and willing to discover more. Next 2 clicks, please. Learning through education, news, and science becomes more rewarding. Our brains enjoy the novelty. New facts arm us with knowledge and inspire us towards seeking solutions. This is where we learn that improvements to the health of our water systems are achievable, that system change is possible, that we're all responsible for a healthy water cycle, which in turn benefits our own health. Next 2 clicks, please. Our journey of discovery leads us towards feeling empowered to act. Can you click through the next 8 clicks, please? At every step of the way, a social media-led campaign will interface with science and education and arts and media and news to share examples of other positive actions to support and catalyze widespread change. And of course, successful actions are so rewarding that we will want to do more. So get this right, and our journey towards empowerment becomes a virtuous, feel-good circle. Can you just do 3 more clicks, please? And complete the circle? Lovely, thank you very much. Critically, I should say that we need to normalize this newfound feeling of empowerment, to normalize our action over inaction. That's what this communication strategy will ultimately do. Next slide, please. So in answer to this question, how might we empower citizens to make meaningful actions? My answer is that a combination of communication strategies, one that fills the knowledge and emotional gaps, can help take citizens on a journey towards empowerment. Click, please. Draw me in, help me care, arm me with knowledge, and empower me to act, and I will make meaningful change. Thank you.
That's great, James. Thank you very much. Now we go on to speak to Marcus Raymond, and Marcus, as I said, is director of the Tyson Bornemisza TBA Academy. The future course is really an act of creation, Marcus, and some would argue that art is its vernacular language. So over to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, as you rightfully say, I'm the director of TBA 21 Academy and its physical exhibition venue, Ocean Space in Venice, and its digital initiative, the Ocean Archive. So first of all, thank you very much for the invitation to speak, and thank you very much for the entire team for their incredible work in preparing this event. I want to briefly talk about not necessarily what we do. Before I talk what we do, I'm going to follow up on what Pascal and George said. It's about care, right? I think before we can talk about any sustained and meaningful action, we need to talk about care, and maybe also as we're facing a second wave of this of the pandemic. Maybe it's a good point and a good moment to remind ourselves of these moments when many of us stepped outside of our houses and stepped towards our windows and stepped onto our balconies and applauded the frontline care workers right? I think many of this, or a lot of this applause, was not only for them, but it was also to encourage ourselves to keep going, to stick to the regulations, and to do everything that we could to flatten the curve. So some organized shopping runs for senior citizens and the most vulnerable. Others played concerts and songs to remind ourselves what it is and what it means to be human, and shine a little light in a very, very dark hour. So why was such broad and decisive action possible? And I think it was because we care. Because we care for our families, we care about our friends, we care about our neighbors, and we care about our communities. And we care because, as was just said, we care because we relate, right? So whilst the world is burning since continuously, and has been burning since the beginning of the year, all over from Australia to the Amazon and all, why should we care about the ocean? And it is relatively simple, because the ocean is our single biggest ally in fighting this climate crisis, in fighting this climate emergency. So what do we need to empower citizens to take meaningful action? It is, I strongly believe, as was said before, it is that we need to inspire care, and we need to build a relationship. And as we are storytelling animals, we need to create culture, and we need to create new stories and myths around it. So can we go briefly to the presentation, please? I'm not sure that it starts. If it doesn't start, then I just continue. So why contemporary art? TBA 21 is a contemporary art foundation and cultural ecosystems that tries to do exactly that, foster a deeper understanding and relationship to the ocean. And we do so through a number of activities, through fellowship programs and residency programs for artists, as well as long-term research commissions. So it is really about collaboration. It is about working together. It's about bridging the gap between knowledge and action. And to do so, we're trying to fuse knowledge, inspiration, and action. We do so by instigating collaborative and intersectional research, artistic productions, and new forms of knowledge. And we present this work in the exhibition space in Venice, which was consciously chosen because we believe that it's absolutely fundamental to actually speak from and in a space that is on the front lines of climate change, and really imagine ways of engaging with these spaces in a meaningful and proactive way. I think I leave it with that, as the presentation is not coming. But
can I ask you? In your presentations in Venice, people seeing this work that you're doing, what kind of presentations are striking a chord with people, or are really making that connection, do you think?
So currently we have an exhibition by an architecture collective called Territorial Agency that started a work on investigating sea level rise and big ocean data. And what they did was that over the course of 3 years, they collected all kinds of big data, ocean data, and started rendering it visible next to each other. They started with sea level rise, but then also looked at rapid urbanization, fishing, coral, health of coral reefs, and so on. The overwhelming answer and messages that we get from the visitors there was that they have very little understanding of what is actually going on in the ocean. What are the transformations that the ocean is experiencing, and the massive human activity that is happening every day on the ocean. I think this is something, the making visible of something that is so invisible for most of the people is really something that is quite eye-opening to them.
That's great, Marcus. So we need a new kind of map of the ocean, and we need a new map for the future of the ocean. That's great. We'll come back to you on that, Marcus. I go over now to Eugenia Barocca. I think the last time we met was in a cold coastal community in the west of Ireland, where you're one of the All-Atlantic Ocean Youth Ambassadors. and a member of the Sustainable Ocean Alliance. And I guess you're one of the leaders of Generation Regeneration. You're out there building a new all-Atlantic community. So, Eugenia, over to you.
Thank you very much, Sean. And thank you everyone for the incredible honor that is to be part of this session. I am Eugenia Barroco, and I am a marine biologist and a Portuguese youth leader. And I'll share with you my different personal experience in youth engagement for ocean protection. The first slide, please. So, such as John just mentioned, I'm part of the All Atlantic Ocean Youth Ambassadors Program that was created by the will of the Directorate General for Research and Innovation for the European Commission. And that was essentially wanting to reach as many youth for as many countries that surround the Atlantic as possible. So everything started with different statements and agreements, with a special highlight for the Galway's and Belay statements that both focus ocean literacy as a tool to empower citizens. This year was actually a pilot project for the Atlantic Ambassadors Program, where I was together with more 22 ambassadors from 14 different countries from North to South Atlantic. We were brought together for the first time in Galway, 2019. That was the first time I met John Bell as well. And we brought there together with a task to develop a campaign to reconnect people with the Atlantic Ocean. And our ambassadorship will finish in December 2020 this year, when the next cohort of the Atlantic Ocean Youth Ambassadors will start their journey as well. At the summer school back in Galway, we were trained by excellent experts that gave us communication tools to know how to develop a campaign, how to handle social media, and how to have local and international impact. We split our action in areas in 3 different groups. The first group was getting to know our Atlantic, that the main area of focus was ocean literacy. The second group was Become Atlantic Friendly, that was focusing ocean ecotourism. And the third group, that is the one I'm part of, is the Atlantic Culture and Celebration, that focus arts and culture as a tool to empower and connect our communities. And we also have an overarching project that was the Atlantic Youth, and with the hashtag on social media of My Atlantic Story. It was a campaign where all of us around our own countries and communities were engaging citizens to paint their faces of blue and take a picture in blue and share it on social media with that hashtag, together with their Ocean Atlantic commitment and what they wanted to do to protect this common resource that we have. And also, these 3 groups, we could describe them by the 3 words: share, connect, and act. After that, all of us have been attending several global conferences focused on research and ocean conservation, such as the All Atlantic Research Forum last February at Brussels. And the next Atlantic Research Forum will also be in December, when the next generation of ambassadors will start their ambassadorship. And even after the COVID-19 impact, that all our actions and our campaign passed to the online and digital area. We also attended virtually United Nations webinars, and we keep doing our journey and passing our word, even now that we are connected more, especially as digital way. So I want to give special thanks to all the projects and all the people that supported to spread this message. Our project, Anchor, Marine Institute in Galway, the Irish National Council, the Portuguese entity Ciência Viva that support me, and specifically Margaret, Laura, and Sigi that gave us a big support. And next slide, please. So now I'm going to speak about my professional activity, that I'm the Portuguese representative of Sustainable Ocean Alliance. The mission of Sustainable Ocean Alliance is to develop leaders, cultivate ideas, and accelerate solutions to improve the health and sustainability of our ocean. SUA was founded by Daniela Fernandes, that started in 2014 as a college undergraduate to empower students to impact ocean health at an international level. SUA, since that, became the world's largest network of ocean leaders in over 165 countries and launched the first Ocean Solutions Accelerator. So we focus our action by 2 programs, the Ocean Leadership Program, that is the one that I work for, and the Ocean Accelerator Program. The Ocean Leadership Program focuses its action on the hubs groups, that are the groups of ocean leaders that host awareness-raising events, organize advocacy campaigns, like ocean learning labs, and develop hands-on initiatives. And we also have in this program our global community connected by Mobilise. That is a digital platform where all the ocean leaders be connected and share their experience and projects. And we had this here for the first time, the Ocean Solutions microgrants, that were small grants focusing local action, where we already give support in more than 10 countries. And we also give our contribution to the ocean literacy through our Ocean Learning Lab series. Presently, we are doing the Unmasking Plastic Ocean Learning Lab. That is a series of webinars in which expert voice provide a holistic and diverse perspective on the plastic problem and its solutions. We also have the Youth Policy Advisory Council that is composed of young ocean leaders from 16 countries, representing 9 global regions. And members of this council are experts recognized for their policy acumen and dedication to improving ocean health in their regions. This year, they are focused on amplifying the voices of youth in creating a Blue New Deal economy and fighting deep seabed mining. So if you want to also support that campaign, you are free to go to SUA website and support all these movements. In the Accelerator program, we help entrepreneurs and project leaders develop their ideas and to scale their impact to solve the most critical environmental challenges that face the ocean. So to the date, we are proud to have accelerated 20 ocean solutions in 2 years. And all these SUA ocean leaders from both programs have demonstrated their commitment to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 14, life below water, and by being actively raising awareness of ocean challenges in their communities, creating ocean solutions, and influencing others to take ocean action as well.
Okay.
Next slide.
Eugenia, we're running out of time here. So if you can just bring us into land, that'd be great.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, it's great.
The last project I spoke was the first international experience that I had. It was with the Royal Oceans Day Youth Advisory Council, with the first edition. I have been with them from 2016 to 2018. But it's another global network. My first group was 11, and now they have 25 youth active, also empowering their communities. They have global campaigns, and then they also have local projects that they do in all their countries, as I have done in my time. I've done beach cleanups, screening of documentaries and discussions, a lot of talks to schools, workshops, using arts as well. So this is just an example to show you how many different organizations, groups, and possibilities that we have to amplify this youth involvement in ocean protection. Thank you very much.
Molto obrigado. Fantastic, Eugenia. We keep the campaign moving. So from our Slido, we've had a very interesting array of responses as to what a citizen can do. Number one thing to do to take action, and it shows the level of change in consciousness. We should shop sustainably, say some. Let's all become citizen scientists. We need to get out on the beaches and waves and start the clean-up ourselves. We need politics to respond by supporting these great regulatory initiatives, the different pieces of law that are in place in terms of the Marine Strategic Framework Directive and the protected areas under EU legislation. It needs to be more ambitious, it needs to be more to the fore. We need our communities to become more active. So in coming back to wrap up this session, we've got about 6 minutes left. Maybe to start off with, Marcus, I go back to you. You can flash up part of your presentation on the screen. If there's one thing that you would take out of this, what is it?
If it's one thing, I think it is building a relationship. I think it's building a relationship and understanding the necessity. It doesn't matter if I live in a coastal community or in a landlocked country. I think the necessity to understand the importance of the ocean for our planet, and we go about this by treating the ocean as a living entity with a multitude of voices, and we're dedicating our work to listening a lot of the time, and then to make sure that these voices are being heard, right? But I think this relationship, no matter where I am, that I can actively care for the ocean, that is the most important thing, and that's what I'm taking away, and I'm very happy to take away from this session today.
That's terrific, Marcus. James, quoting Bono to some extent, how do we turn the oceans into a feeling? If we look at the mission and all that's in the mission, the 5 big initiatives, the 5 arms of the starfish, the 17 different objectives, just from your own point of view, where would you start? If there was one kind of area to start, you gave us a brilliant outline on how to get it moving. Where would you start? If you're talking to us, the faceless bureaucrats who have to turn up programming and all the rest, where would you get us to start?
Well, we're all in this together, and ultimately, our own health is directly linked to the health of the oceans. And I loved some of the presentations today. The ocean starts here. The ocean is our ally against climate change and the really big existential threats we all face. But I feel more than anything that we need together to consider our ways of consumption. So many of the problems of ocean health can be put down to overconsumption, both on land and at sea. So we just have to have a whole system perspective on it all. And that goes to legislators, opinion formers, citizens all across Europe. I'd say becoming an informed consumer for a more sustainable future is ultimately a goal that we should, each and every one of us, have.
That's great, James. And Evelina, that links us into what we do as citizens. Where do we start with the empowerment of citizens?
Thank you. A very good question. Well, we start at citizens at a very young age. That's what we try to do to get the message across schools and pupils and then students and even also teachers. You know, as the next generation coming up, who can really make a difference, probably. You know, we somehow set the framework as policymakers as well, we enable, but it's children, it's pupils who then go to their teachers, go to their parents and even influence their behavior. So that's where we start, where we think we can have a hook or some kind of a good connection to get the message across. Yeah. That's
great, Evelina. I hand back to Pascal Lamy. You've heard a lot today. You started something here that's quite big with a lot of people on the board. The hydrosphere, what it needs from us. What is your main message to wrap up, Pascal Lamy?
Well, if I had to choose one thing which we really need to do, I would start with a EU-wide literacy ocean and water program for primary schools. I think this is where things really start. And we could give to this program the name we've given to our mission, which is starfish. Now, why starfish? And this is an answer to what we've heard this morning. Why starfish? Because it's a small, likable, living, threatened animal that kids understand. And the image behind this notion of starfish is precisely to create this emotional connection. Think of a kid that has a star in his or her hand. It's a starfish. It has something of a star, but it's a star you can touch. And this star tells the kid, please help me survive. That's what I would put first.
That's fantastic. The other thing I love about the starfish, which I learned from the team, is that starfishes can recover from quite a serious amount of maltreatment. So it gives us a message of hope as well to finish it off. And what this day is all about is how do we get science, research, innovation and the public involved in making this mission happen. So get online, download the report, talk about it in your communities, in your schools, in your halls, on the balconies of Europe, where the future is being made, and let's make this ocean have a better future and put the blue back in the European Union flag. Thank you. Thank you, Pascal Lamy. Thank you, everybody, very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.